Dicejunkies tabletop. My name is Dale, and with me is
Tim,
my co-host Tim. And we are looking at Quarriors, the dice building game from WizKids. This game was designed by Mike Elliott and Eric Lang, and I have got to say, I love this game.
That's right. Yep.
It is a fantastic game.
It's a good game. I enjoyed it too. The Quarriors, the game of uber strategic hexahedron monster combat mayhem, or as they say, basically it's a dice building game.
It's a dice building game at its core. That's right.
So, but we had a lot of fun playing it on the live stream a couple of weeks ago.
We did.
And I think we probably will play it again if we get some more expansions or something along those lines.
That is in the works.
Absolutely.
I love throwing dice, and this game satisfies that urge, that craving.
For some reason, I think that dice are good. They're just a good thing, you know?
They're inherently cubed.
Yeah. Very, very much so. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the actual review. So starting off, let's talk about design.
Design. I love the design of this game. The first thing that comes to mind when I think about the design of this game is the artwork on the cards, which to me is just, it's great.
And Dale, I like the artwork on the cards. It's a shame that when you look at the artwork on the cards, it doesn't completely match what's on the box.
Well, yeah.
It's similar, but not the same. And the other thing is, seeing as that it is on the cards, and when you're playing with a large group of people, I find it hard because you're paying more attention to the actual dice than you are the cards. So
that's true.
It kind of loses itself for me a little bit.
Yeah, you do tend to cover up the artwork with the dice when you are playing,
exactly,
so that you can see the text.
And I mean, it's just at this point now that I'm actually looking at some of these. You know, the assistant by itself. You know, it's one of the basic cards in the game, and it looks really neat. It's this little dude carrying a whole bunch of books and paper and stuff, and I'm honestly, for the first time, noticing that.
He basically resembles any character I have ever played in D&D.
So with that, the art style is really cool. The packaging on this game is actually really, really well done. They have it set together so that if you want to take it wherever you want, it's got this little plastic piece that covers over it. Everything fits in there very, very well. Ta-da! And when we're playing the game, I mean, you know, when we played it, and I think I talked about it a little bit on the stream too, that's a ton of dice. Mm-hmm. They're all very well made. They seem to be fairly balanced, even though, you know, it's different cuts on the dice itself. The bags that you get could be of a higher quality, but they're not bad by any means. At all. And my biggest problem with the actual design of the game is the markers that you have for the glory tracker are just little cubes. Which, yes, okay, it does match with the fact that you're just rolling a ton of dice. Mm-hmm. But they could have had little meeples or something there other than just a little cube.
That's not to say you couldn't substitute your own, but yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. But with that, for this particular thing, for everything that you get with this, and this is just the basic version of the game, with everything that you get here, for the price point, that is amazing. Mm-hmm. In my mind.
And let me show you what I like about the packaging. This is what I call the shake factor. When you shake a game like that and none of the pieces go flying anywhere, you know you have got a game that will survive a trip from your house to your friend's house in the trunk of your car, and it might stay there for a week or two and go to the next place where you have a game. But I really like that. It gives me a little bit of confidence knowing that I can store this game upright on the bookshelf and none of the pieces will come out.
Absolutely.
Between sessions.
Now, we've talked a lot about the good parts of this and a little bit about bad with the little cubes. But with that being said, There are a few kind of design flaws that I can see in this game, specifically talking about the actual cards that or placemats that you would use for the game. They are printed directly on the back of the instructions.
Mm-hmm.
For our game, you photocopied them so that you don't have to actually rip up your.
I could have
your
photocopied
thing.
them. It does give you permission right there on the back page to photocopy them, but I actually went online and found a couple of different designs that that I was able to print, and I just keep those in my box because I don't like to tear up my rule book.
I mean, all of us here, for people that play board games, when we have something, unless it's a legacy game, we want to keep everything intact. That's one of, and it's actually one of the factors that we kind of judge this stuff on. And the fact that they innately out of the box, they want you to use this stuff on the back. That's kind of a down point.
I think this would have been done better as a separate card.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. So for design, final scores for that, I'm gonna have to go with a 3. It's got some really good stuff. It can be higher quality, but for the price point, it's really good. I'm gonna give it a 3 because it didn't just completely blow me away.
Well, I think a 3 is pretty brutal. I give it a 4.
Okay.
It
Cool.
didn't have all that much wrong with it, in my opinion.
I gotcha.
And you know, if you do want a little bit of a higher quality, there is a deluxe version out there that you can purchase.
There is a deluxe version of the game that you can go and buy, which is really neat. It comes in a big metal tin.
Yes, it does.
And that's that'll really wake the neighbors whenever you shake the metal tin that's full of dice.
I'm counting on it.
So speaking of waking the neighbors, let's move on to enjoyability. What did you think about this game, Dale? You've already talked about it a little bit.
I'm actually wondering now, do you like to wake the neighbors? Is that what you enjoy?
That's for a different discussion.
Okay. Yes, I enjoyed this game very much. And in fact, as soon as I'm done playing it, I'm ready to do it again. But
you like this game so much you bought it.
Yeah, I mean, who'd have thunk it, right?
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm ready to go buy an expansion or two for this. There are plenty of those out there.
So I kind of have a gaming was it ADHD, ADD? I don't remember what it is. Squirrel. Anyway, with that, playing this game the first time through, there is, and we'll get to that in here shortly. There is some replayability to this, but for just enjoying the game as it is, pacing is okay. It kind of depends on who you're playing it with. When we played, we had some great people that we were playing with, and it really kind of brought out the interactions between each other and the rest of the group. Mm-hmm. For me, playing this game as it is, I'm good. It was fun while I played it, but I've definitely had more fun with the game. With other games. This particular game does very little to bring out interaction between the players, and that's a big factor for me. And because when you have a group of players, a group of gamers that are going to be playing over and over and over, you want them to interact with each other. You're having fun being social.
I'm convinced. You've convinced me.
Really?
I think I knew what I was going to give this game, but I think I've adjusted my score somewhat.
Okay. So with that, what's your counterpart to that?
Well, I think for enjoyability, I was just having so much fun that I didn't even think about the fact that the pacing of the game can be affected by players who don't talk a lot when it's not their turn, and
like a particular person that was stuck in a particular hole that we won't talk about right now.
Okay, I must be missing something there. Steven? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Watch our gameplay videos, and you'll understand.
Yep.
We now have a
18 and up only, guys.
a type of die roll called the Steven
That's
in
right.
his honor.
Wait, before you roll, can we get a drum roll from the Twitch audience?
I don't know how they do that.
I don't either. Just maybe just
Type
bang on
drum
it.
roll in the chat.
Yeah.
Random keystrokes.
Yep.
Yeah, just
Put your cat on the keyboard.
Put your cat on the keyboard.
Oh, then that could go down a whole other rabbit hole.
This can be really bad. So, yeah, roll all that.
this chat just got clean again.
This got real bad. Okay, so you get to draw 3 more.
Oh my.
He doesn't have any creatures right now.
Yet.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
no.
He has the Quidditch to buy in some if he gets them here.
Oh, he doesn't!
Oh!
Oh!
Oh my God! No way. Did he really? He did.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
You have
I'm just like, go ahead and buy one of those.
There you go. At least you
Just
bought
to
one.
have one. Just to have one.
you have forever locked in the Steven.
Yep.
Yep.
That is the Steven roll. Oh my God.
Almost made it come back.
So,
Almost. But
with
But
that,
you will go down in history.
But yeah, I was initially going to give this a 5, but I'm downgrading to a 4.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a 3. And again, it's not bottom of the barrel. It's not blow me out of the water. It is kind of a mid-range. This game, for me, enjoyability wise, I enjoyed it while I played it. Can't really decide whether or not it was because of the game or the group of people.
I enjoyed making fun of Steven.
Absolutely. Making fun of Steven, I'm going to give a 5 out of 5. So with that, let's move on to the mechanics of this game.
Oh, mechanics.
So what do you think about the mechanics of this game?
I think at first, it's a little daunting
So a little complex to begin with?
to begin with, but then as you play, after 1 or 2 turns, you sort of get into the flow of it.
Yeah, I
And,
can see that. I can see that for sure.
Fortunately, on your card that tells you your pools, it tells you your turn sequence.
Yeah, that
So
was
it's a nice
very
little
good.
handy cheat. Crib notes.
The mechanics of this game, I've seen, as far as like originality or anything along those lines, just for the base mechanics of this game, because when you boil it down, it is a building game. Now, the unique part of it is that this is not a deck building game that you see in tons of other different games. This is a dice building game, but it still functions the same. And there's that added randomness, or as some of our friends would say, that RNG that you get from rolling the die. And of course, we always love rolling dice. But when it boils down to it, it is just another deck building game. And you go from turn to turn, buying cards, buying dice, playing those dice, and trying to survive to the next turn. All in all, mechanics-wise, it's not terribly complex, but it can be a little daunting when you first look at it.
Sure.
But once you actually get in and play the game, it's fun. It's kind of easy. Things pick up very, very quickly. But I'm gonna have to go with a 3.
I give it a 4 again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did like the mechanics very much, and they worked for me. We did have a playthrough during lunch before we streamed, and we kind of had a couple of the phases out of order, but
yeah, that absolutely can trick you if you're not 100% sure how the game plays.
We were actually buying our dice or mining our quarry immediately after pulling dice from the bag,
Right.
which is incorrect. You are supposed to wait until a later phase to do that.
We had a couple of things out of order
Yeah.
that first time that we played through,
We
and
were-
that kind of leads to back to the complexity of the game. If you're really not paying 100% attention to the game, then it's just not going to run. If you're a new group of players playing this game, read the instructions. Go through the instructions probably a couple of times and have that one rules lawyer definitely be in charge of the rules the entire time.
And that was our fault, not the instructions fault.
Right. So I gave it a 3, you gave it a 4. Let's talk about replayability. And this is kind of an interesting for me. For replayability, so I'm actually going to flip things around a little bit, and I'm going to start off with a 3. With everything else combined, and normally I would talk about the reasons why, but I'm going to give you my score first. With everything else combined, the enjoyability, the design of this game, the mechanics, I put all of that stuff together with the replayability of this game. And when I look at it, this game by itself does not draw me to want to play it again. Not immediately. No, I mean, I would definitely play it, but it's not going to be my first choice. However, that being said, this game has a ton of expansions.
Yes, it does.
I would definitely be interested in playing this game again with expansions. Anything to kind of change up the same thing. Because with the game, there is some randomness to it with the different types of spells, the different types of quarry that you can get. But it's all, the mechanics-wise, it's the same exact thing. You're just going after different things. I'm interested to see, and I'm completely blind as far as what the expansions bring to the table. Whether there's maybe new rules, new cards, new dice. There's always going to be new dice.
There's always new dice.
But with that,
Yes.
you know, if they can bring something else to the table, I'm definitely interested in doing that. And that's why I'm going to give this a 3 for replayability.
Well, even if there were not tons of expansions for this game, which there are, I would still give it a 5 because I freaking love this game. And I would play it over and over and over again.
Awesome. Well, guys, I believe the totals are in. We have, for me, I give this game a total of 12. It's not my first pick. There are some really cool things that I like about this game, and it's definitely a fun game that I can respect other people definitely enjoy it more than I do, but it's not for me. So I give it a 12. Dale, I believe your total has changed and is now a total of
17.
17. Excellent. So why do you think that overall you gave it a 17?
Because it's fun and I like it.
Which is 17 is a great score. Remember, we are going from a bottom of the barrel, a 1 critical failure, all the way up to a critical success, a critical hit of 20. And for this one, it gets a total score, an average of 14. So a 14...
Are you rounding up or down?
Rounding down.
Oh, that's so mean.
I mean, you know, when you're playing a tabletop, you're always supposed to round down, or so I always run the game. Of course, I'm kind of a jerk.
And I attack.
Nice.
I wasn't going to tell her. I was just going to imply.
I'm being the friendly guy tonight. I'm telling you that you can call things. I'm telling her that she can kill people.
I don't
So
know
is
if that
this-
suits
I'm gonna
you
kill
very well.
people.
No, it doesn't. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Is this good cop, bad cop board gaming? I don't know if I like this.
Don't like it.
Okay.
So I have attacked with.
All right. So you're
So you have
attacking
4
with a
damage.
4.
Yep.
I am defending with a 4. And so what happens, Tim?
They die.
Both of them?
Yep. Cool. So, did you want to buy anything? You have 2 left. After the attack, you can buy anything. Something that if you want. The only thing that you can buy right now is another assistant. It's up to you on what you want to do.
I think I'm going to forego the assistant.
Forgo the
May or
assistant.
may not be a wise decision.
There's that asshole. Y'all know.
But with that, with a 14, that's still a fairly decent score. 14's not going to hit every creature that you fight.
If I were running this, I would have rounded up.
And that's why we're not the same person. But with that, guys, 14, 15, let's round it over to a 14 and a half. But with that, try out Quarriors. It may be a game for you. It definitely is a game for Dale.
If you like to roll dice, it's a game for you.
Yeah, and it's definitely one that whether or not you want to play it multiple times, it's definitely worth a playthrough to begin with, just to see whether or not you'd like it. I may change my opinion after we get some expansions for this game. Who knows? Hopefully that'll be happening soon. But with this game, just like any other, if there's other games that you would like to see us play, review, talk about, anything along those lines, just hit us up in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit us up on Twitch, on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram. You can see us anywhere on there.
And if you want to see Gloomhaven, hit up our Patreon account.
Yeah, for sure. I will sit through and play an entire campaign of Gloomhaven. All you got to do is hit up Patreon. Come on, guys. That's all.
Not
that's all
me.
you gotta
I'm
do.
just going to display the figures on my bookshelf.
That too. After I paint them. But anyway.
Maybe, depending on when I'm going to get my characters back from Who Goes There.
Yeah. We can talk about that off air. But anyway, guys, until next time, keep playing games.
And see you later, everybody.